Guys, I want to welcome you to the Do Work Podcast. The Do Work Podcast, as you know, is a weekly podcast where we discuss all things entrepreneurship, mindset, motivation, and becoming the best version of ourselves possible. And today is no different. We are still in our 31 days of motivation and mindfulness series. Today is day 14, and we're going to be talking about something really important because a lot of people don't know how to do this. Day 14, we're going to talk about you just being you. Now, in an age where social media has us inundated with images and on how to act, how to live, how to dress, a lot of people get lost and lose sight of who they really are. So the question today for you guys as you kind of navigate through your day is simply, who are you? What do you stand for? And are you being you daily, authentically? Being you can be scary because maybe what being you consists of is not what the norm is. Being you can be uncertain because maybe you're not sure who you are yet or what you stand for or who you want to be, what your place is in this world. So when we talk about really being ourselves, one of the things that always comes to mind is, who do you surround yourself with? Because, we're a product of, how we grew up, what we learned, and who we surround ourselves with. Now, once you become adults, it's important to realize that who is around you is a direct representation of you. So are you being yourself, or are you trying to fit in with others and become someone else? Now, we talk also a lot about becoming the best version of ourselves. Now, that may cause us to have to level up and hang around people who are not necessarily like we are, people who we aspire to be like. But becoming you and being yourself is the most important thing ever. I remember as a child, it was very common for my mother to always say to me, be who you want to be. And you can be anything and things of this nature, which, when you're a kid, you're like, yeah, I can be anything. I can be a fireman, whatever. But as we get older, we lose sight of that. We start to conform. We start to get sucked into doing and being what others want us to be, what others expect us to be. We start to lose sight of our own priorities, our own drive. So I ask you today, are you truly being you? Are you living in your life's purpose? Are you fulfilling your life's passion? Or are you just existing? I know it's kind of deep, right? It is important for you to figure that out for yourself. So you're probably like, well, Diva, how do I figure that out? And I always ask people to assess a few things. One, are you happy? Now, I'm not talking about, yay, I woke up and had a good day. I'm talking about, like, are you happy? Are you happy in your career? Are you happy in your relationship? Are you happy in your circle, in your social circle? Like, are you happy? And if you're not happy in those places, but you're still existing in those spaces, you may not be the best version of yourself. You may not be you or who you're supposed to be. The second thing I like to ask people when we talk about how do we assess are we being our true selves is if your mind is constantly like, I would like to do, I wish I could be in this career, or I wish I could have this type of marriage, or I wish I could do these things with my friends. I wish if you're not living in your purpose, you're not being you. If you're letting society control the way you act, think, and move, you're not being you. Now we're in a place where diversity and inclusion are huge because we're allowing people to be who they are. We're learning to accept people for who they are. As long as you're not being an asshole, it is important to accept people for who they are. So as you begin to navigate through your day today, I want you to ask yourself, are you being you? Do you feel like you have to hide? Do you feel like you have to play small? Do you feel like you're constantly conforming because who you are may not be accepted by those around you? Be it your professionally, your peers, your family. Are you being you? And are you happy? And the happiness question is heavy because if you're not happy, there's a part in your life where you're not fulfilling yourself, which means you're not being yourself. So it's day 14. I ask you, I know somebody's in their car right now, like, Diva, it's too early for the deepness, but you need it. Are you being you? Are you living in your purpose? Are you living in your passion? Because if you're not, life's too short and you're going to die very miserable. They say all the time, there are a lot of hopes and dreams in the graveyard. All right, family. I want to welcome you to the Do Work Podcast. This is day 14 of mindfulness and motivation. And the goal is just to simply give you nuggets every day to kind of take with you, to set through your day, to think about, to work on, to process. I'm a processor, so to process. But the question today is, are you being you? And if you're not, I encourage you to start digging deep to figure out what that is. Figure out what that is and understand that who you are 5 years ago definitely is probably not who you are now and who you will become. This is an ever evolving and changing thing. So it's important to always be you, do you, and be honest with yourself. There is so much freedom in not having to conform. There is so much freedom in being who we want to be and walking and talking in a way we want to talk and live and guide our lives. All right, family. Do Work Podcast. Remember to subscribe to the Do Work Podcast. Spotify, Apple, YouTube. I'll always drop episodes on LinkedIn as well. Again, if you haven't, go to my newsletter. Go over to divarichards.com. We send out bi-monthly newsletters. And look, I tell people all the time, I'm your coach. I'm here. Today, I want you to think about, are you being your authentic self? And you know how we got to end this? One way and one way only. Nothing changes unless you do. Nothing changes until you do the work.